Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've ever been put on the spot and felt your mind go completely blank, you're not alone. As an introvert, speaking up spontaneously can be really challenging. But today, I want to share a framework that has helped me and over 300 of my clients think fast and speak confidently, even when caught off guard. So let's dive in. As an introvert, one thing I hated more than anything was being put on the spot, frantically searching for answers and coming up empty-handed, leaving me feeling awkward and embarrassed. But why do we struggle with this so much? Introverts often face unique difficulty when it comes to speaking up on the spot. It can be a real challenge to find the right words quickly. Unlike extroverts who tend to verbalize their thoughts as they come, introverts tend to process their ideas internally. This introspective nature means that when prompted to speak, especially without warning, it can be a struggle to articulate thoughts clearly and promptly. Introverts don't typically think out loud like extroverts. Instead, we internalize our thoughts. So this means that when we're asked to speak spontaneously, we often have to sift through a lot of internal processing to find the right words. And this process, it can take time, and under pressure, it can feel particularly overwhelming. Introverts often rely more on their long-term memory than their short-term memory. So while short-term memory is like a desktop with current documents readily accessible, long-term memory is more akin to a vast, deep ocean where information is stored, so that retrieving a specific piece of information from this ocean isn't always quick or easy. Unlike extroverts who might keep information readily available in their short-term memory, introverts often dig deeper, which can slow them down in fast-paced conversations. It's important to know, guys, that this isn't a matter of lacking knowledge, but rather needing more time to access it. For example, at work, an introvert might find it challenging to immediately recall specific project details, especially when asked to speak on the spot. So this need for deeper retrieval can sometimes be mistaken for being unprepared or a lack of knowledge, which is far from the truth. Whenever I was put on the spot at work, I would freeze. And I remember one instance when my manager asked for an update during a meeting. I knew the details inside and out, but in that moment, my mind just went completely blank. And my manager was clearly frustrated, and he said something like, "Have you even looked into this, Daniel?" And it was really disheartening because I put so much effort and work into it, but the pressure of being put on the spot, I just froze, and it kind of triggered anxiety, making it even harder to think clearly. And what this anxiety does is it activates our fight or flight response, which is not conducive to clear thinking. It's like trying to solve a complex puzzle while being chased by a wild animal. Your brain just can't function optimally under this kind of stress. So how can we get better at thinking on our feet? One strategy that has helped me immensely is regularly reflecting on what I'm working on. So each day I ask myself, what am I focusing on today? What have I accomplished so far today? And what this does, this practice, it trains the brain to quickly recall information, making it easier to access it when needed. So what you have to do is when you are put on the spot, the first thing to do is to slow down your reaction time. I know from experience the urge to speak quickly and get it over with is strong, but you have to know that that's coming from a place of anxiety. What you have to do is pause, take a deep breath, and even have a calming mantra like, "I've got this," instead of "don't mess this up." This small shift in mindset can make a big difference in how you respond. And when responding, it's helpful to have a go-to phrase. For example, you can say something like, "Thank you for asking that question, John. That's a great question." This approach buys you time and gives you a moment to gather your thoughts. What you can do from here is to then repeat the question. This again buys you more time and helps you to build a little bit of confidence. So an example could be, "Thank you for asking this question, John. That's a great question. So what is the most important aspect for us to focus on first?" As introverts, we're naturally in our heads a lot because we have a deep inner world. We often overthink our responses, worrying about saying something stupid or coming across the wrong way. But in order to be confident and to create more opportunities, you need to have a point of view and be willing to share it. A good question to ask yourself is, if it was just me and the person asking the question in the room, how would I respond? Then go for it. Respond in a bold, confident manner, giving your opinion. Because the reality is we can't control how others perceive us, but we can control how we present ourselves. And holding things back just means that we're going to miss out on opportunities. If you're interested in more tips and personal stories, consider signing up for my weekly newsletter where I share specific frameworks on how to communicate as an introvert. So I'll put a link in the description. Now let's talk about a specific framework. This framework is called the PrEP framework. So the P stands for point, R stands for reason, E for evidence, and P for point. This is a simple way to structure your response and make sure you cover all of the important points. So you first start with your main point, then provide a reason, next give evidence, and finally restate your main point. This framework helps you keep your response clear and concise, making it easier to communicate effectively on the spot. And it's especially useful for introverts because it allows you to draw on your strengths of deep thinking and careful consideration. So an example of using the PrEP framework. Let's say you're asked in a meeting about the direction of a project. I believe we should continue with the current strategy. We've seen a 20% increase in user engagement since implementing it. For example, last quarter, our user feedback was overwhelmingly positive about these changes. That's why I believe sticking with the strategy is the best course of action. If you haven't already, guys, please be sure to hit the subscribe to keep updated on my weekly communication skills videos. I'd really appreciate it. Next, we're going to look at some techniques to buy us time. Sometimes you need a bit more time to gather your thoughts. And here are some techniques to help you do that. The first one is a situation where you need to buy more time. For example, I want to give you the most accurate information, so let me take a moment to gather my thoughts. This shows that you care about giving a thoughtful answer. The next technique is to refocus. So politely steer the conversation away by saying something like, while I don't have the exact answer to your question, I can tell you that such and such is also relevant. The next point, ask for clarification. Could you please provide more context? It will help me address your question more accurately. The next point is to admit a lack of knowledge. I don't have the answer to that right now, but I can look into it and get back to you. The next technique is to redirect to someone else. I'm not sure, but Amy is an expert on this topic. They might be able to provide more insights. The next technique is to emphasize and offer to follow up. I understand your question is important. I may not have the answer at this moment, but I'll make it a priority to find out and get back to you. So we aren't always going to have a response. So using these techniques can help maintain confidence and composure. When I first started working on my confidence and communication skills, I struggled a lot. But over time, I developed strategies that I now share in my 6-month confident communication program, specifically designed for introverts who want to get ahead in their corporate careers without compromising their personality. On this program, we cover building confidence, assertiveness training, small talk, building relationships, dealing with different personalities, group dynamics, networking, leadership, presenting, and many more. All with the aim to help you get ahead in your career, make more money, and enjoy more freedom as an introvert. There is an application form in the description if you'd like to apply. Remember, the key to thinking on the spot is to slow down. Use the PrEP framework and have strategies to buy time. If you found this video useful, you may also enjoy my recent video on how to thrive as an introvert in an extroverted world. I will put it above. But thank you for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next video.